up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Shorty Show, where it gets as random as, did you know that hippopotamuses, that's a word, right? Cannot swim.
Wait, what?
Shut up.
Oh yeah,
No.
they like walk at the bottom, right?
Yeah, they're too
No
damn
way.
heavy. They're
Yeah,
not
they're too
buoyant.
dense.
So they gallop. They hit the bottom and then jump up.
No
Hit the
way.
bottom. It's like being on the moon. Yeah, that's why
What?
I found one. We have my co-host Justin Hong
What's up,
and
guys?
special guest of the day, Evan. Do you have a fighter in the game?
The Phenom.
Evan, the Phenom Elder. That's kind of how it was when you were walking out for your last fight, you know, just like, because dude,
Yeah.
you finished. What was it? 3-day notice?
4, yeah.
4-day notice, and you bumped up, right?
Yeah, it was since it was such short notice, they didn't have us cut to lightweight. Thank God, I wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
make lightweight on a couple
And
days
you were
notice.
able to finish him. What was it? Choke by second round?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Thank you,
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it was good. It was my first arena fight.
Yeah.
You know, first fight for the UFC outside of the Apex, and it was so dope, dude. I love fighting in an arena.
Was that was your fourth fight in UFC, right?
Yep.
So does that mean your contract's done and you're re-signing, or
Yep.
are you under like? Oh, so you're doing that now?
Yeah, I'm already on my second contract.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
since that one. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I know you were 2-2, but the last fight was obviously the most important. You needed to win it, but also in that favor of like, hey, I'm doing you guys a favor. I'm jumping in, trying to save this fight, whether you're trying to highlight the guy or me or whatever the case may be, or fill a card, and you did it. And look at that, dude. That benefited you. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, man. God's timing is seriously so perfect, like crazy. You know, we're kind of. I was saying something about it earlier before we started, but like, just not waiting for opportunity or not waiting for things to be perfect, right? Just like any opportunity that comes, just being willing to take it. You know, step outside your comfort zone, because if you don't wait for things to be perfect, it's probably going to come with a little bit of extra fear, anxiety, you know, the nerves, whatever, because you want it to be perfect, but. I feel like that fear of just waiting for the perfect opportunity is what keeps us from so many of the opportunities that are presented to us in the first place, you know.
Well, is there really such a thing as a perfect opportunity?
Probably no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're always waiting for the perfect time, it'll never come. We always want to be more prepared or whatever.
Well, you look at anything in life, whether it's your job, your opportunities, relationship, like nothing and no one is perfect. You know, as much as we kind of fixate about that in our mind, it's
Yep.
like, we want this, and then we put this image in our head, and we end up kind of self-sabotaging ourselves and our wants and needs. I think that's the hardest thing. That's why it's like, dude, just try. Like,
Yeah,
see what happens.
100%.
Just go.
Yeah,
If it doesn't
it is-
work, at least you can
It's
say you
perfect
tried.
in its imperfections. Seriously, like all of life, you know, nothing's perfect, and it's like it works out perfect the way it is.
Well, I think especially for relationships, a lot of people, again, fixate on the perfect image of what I want my partner to be. And then when they break that rule or break, and it's not even their rule, it's whatever we have in our head that they don't even know about. We're like, oh, they're not perfect, they're not the one, or they're not this. And it's like, no, man, it's about compromise. But we have such that fixation on what we want, which also involves my ex now. But with that being said, that's actually how I met you. Was my ex was training down in St. Louis, going to SLU for the university, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go train down there because I used to live down in St. Louis, and I used to train at St. Charles MMA and you know Vages and all these other gyms down there. Wolfpack, I believe it's the name as well. And she's like, oh, let's go to Finney's, and I was like, oh, I've never been there. She goes, oh, I joined there. It's a cool time, and then they have this super small cage downstairs. And I saw, I don't know who you were going with, but you were rolling around with somebody just kind of warming up for practice, and I was just like, dude, that cage is tiny. Like it's a phone booth fight. There's no way you can't fight in that
Yeah.
cage, and like, or you can't run in that cage. Like you're gonna get tagged no matter what. And then I saw him, and I was like, this fucker's good looking. Stay away from him. and then later on the day, I think coincidentally we ended up sparring.
Yeah.
And we trained, and I was just like, holy fuck, it's a fight. You know, because you have no choice but to scrap in
Yeah.
that cage.
Yeah.
Whether you want to wrestle, whether you want to grapple, whether you want to like strike, you have no choice but to engage in that cage.
How big of a cage are we talking? Like a
I mean,
10-foot cage?
Nah, I think it was like 20 by 20, something like that. But
I feel like I could have laid down twice and like touched the wall.
it's very
It's a
small.
6-foot cage?
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Pleasure having you on. How about here? I feel like I have
we're
Alex
done.
Preston next to me. You fucking asshole.
No, but what's funny is I think that's like it might be the actual size of a lot of the Shamrock cages. Like, dude, when you
fuck.
yeah, bro, when you step in the cage, I mean, it's just a small local promotion.
I think it looks smaller too because of how like confined the space is.
Yeah. I mean, because it's like the the room was pretty narrow, so it took up like every bit of it, side to side.
And how long did you train there for?
I was at Finney, so whenever I first started at a small gym back home in Missouri called Hawn MMA. It was just in Festus. I was there for like 5 years, and then whenever I turned about, I think 19, I just turned 19. Actually, did you know Luis Pena? I fought him
I used to punch
my
him all the
third. Oh yeah, he trained at St. Charles MMA for forever. I trained with him. I'm sorry, I didn't train with him. I fought him my third amateur fight, and I lost. He dominated me for 3 rounds, and went to decision, and it was like one of the best things that ever happened, because I was like, dude, if I'm really serious about this, the way I say I am, I need to get out of here and go, search down, seek out some different, better training. So I moved to California after that. I was there for about 1.5 years, trained at the Nate Diaz Academy, and then I moved back home for 1 year, and that's when I was training at Finney. So I was there for about 1 year.
And so after the Nate Diaz thing, where'd you go after? Was that when I finally saw you in Florida?
No. So after I was out in California at the Nate Diaz, well, it was actually a Nick Diaz Academy, but it was Nate Shim. I went back home to Missouri. That's whenever I was at Finney's, and then I was there for 1 year, and then after that, I met Dustin Scrappy Lampros, and I said his fighter name, but that's what everybody knows him. Yeah, that's what everybody knows him as, Scrappy. So
Charles Rosa and I were commentating Nate the Great Marquardt's fight. And every time we said Nate the Great Marquardt, it was the full name. Like we never said Nate, we never said Marquardt. It was always Nate the Great Marquardt.
Yeah.
That's
what a legend
factor.
too. I mean, you gotta give him. You gotta say his whole name.
It's a respect factor. It's
But anyways, Scrappy is the one that I met him at Finney's actually, and then he moved back down to Florida and started training at Hard Knocks at the time, H Kickboxing, which was previously Black Zillions and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he called me. He was like, "Bro, this is like the perfect gym for you. You got to come down here." And I was like, "Dude, 100%. I've always been just kind of up and willing to up and leave and just go travel, go anywhere that God puts in my heart, wherever I think that I need to be for that period of my life." So I moved down there for 5 years. That's wherever I saw
you
you
there
down
for
there.
that long?
Yeah. I was down in Florida at Hard Knocks, H Kickboxing, and then it went to Sanford MMA, and then Kill Cliff FC.
Yeah,
I was there for 5 years.
I was about to say, I went to American Top Team, trained there for a little bit, and I know I inevitably ran into you. And then I was like, what the fuck? Okay, cool. He's down here now.
Yeah.
And you were, doing your thing down there. And then I come here, and you're here. I was like, what the fuck? Obviously, you took the UFC fight last minute, did your thing, and then you continue the fight. And I would see him every once in a while at the PI or at the PFL events, as spectators. And I was just like, what's up, Ed? Like, how you doing? And we haven't punched each other in the face yet here. So
no, we haven't. Yeah, we haven't trained since we've been here. Yeah.
But it's cool that you're able to be out here and travel and just get different experiences. For you, how's that been? Not just getting out of the city or Missouri, if you want to say, but going to different big gyms and getting different experiences.
Oh, dude, it's been everything, really. I mean, I just being able to train with such a wide range of world-class fighters, getting all the different looks, all the different styles, really getting to just learn from everybody. It's one of my favorite things about fighting is just like there's just so many different styles, so many different ways you can create your own fighter, per se, character builds.
Yeah.
And so seeing so many different, and not just different, but different high-level character builds, different fighting styles, stuff like that. You get exposed to a lot, and then just learning from high-level guys, high-level coaches, super, super important. I feel like it just fast-tracks your, lay a good, solid foundation, and then it's easy to build off of. So having the experience of getting to train with a lot of high-level guys and under a lot of high-level coaches has been huge, and
training here, where are you at now?
So I was at Syndicate for the first couple months I was here. I really liked it. I actually really like Syndicate. Now I'm just kind of I'm mostly training with that coach you always see me working with at the PI, Mateos Nakash. We got our own little small group there. Yeah. We kind of train there for the most part. So I'm mostly just there right now, training with him. I do a lot of my speaking of the big gym stuff. I feel like I've been in group class, like big gym style for a long time. So I'm kind of trying to really get into some specifics, just kind of instead of just doing what's broadly generally good for everybody, kind of starting to narrow down and figure out like, okay, speaking of the character builds like I was talking about, what is mine? Like what kind of fighting style am I trying to master? Because now I feel like I have like a good foundation. I feel like I'm a high level generalist. I'm generally really good everywhere, but I'm not like masterful at everything or at anything. So now I'm trying to get a couple things that I'm like masterful at. You know?
Was it jack of all trades, master of none? Is that the
Yeah,
phrase?
yeah.
There's
So-
more to it, but we just stick with that.
Yeah. I don't know the rest.
But the fact is, like, there's something you and I can relate on because I've traveled so much, Jackson Wink, America Top Team, here at Extreme, Rufus Sport, and so many more gyms to where I wanted to see how tough I was, which, you know, I got to train with Dotson, Cub Swanson, Diego Sanchez, all these different guys. And then I'm like, man, this is awesome. But fuck, the same things are kind of generally happening. It's like you get so well by training with these guys, and then eventually you peak, you know, to a certain extent until you get that hands-on experience of actually somebody grabbing your hand and helping you. And for me, that was Dean Thomas. Like you're saying, you're working with Mateos now, where it's like, dude, we trained out of the garage. It was me, Jillian Robertson, and David Evans, which I believe you know as well. And it was probably the most informative years that I've had in MMA where I'm like, man, I wish I would have had this my entire career. Because even Demetrius Johnson says it. When I had my last UFC fight, he was fighting Cejudo for the second time. And I was like, hey, man, why don't you travel and train? He goes, no, some people come in to train with me, but I've been with one coach, one gym. I've never really left. Yeah, I'll cross-train every once in a great while just to have open mat or have some fun, but I stay at my gym, and I get everything I need there because I get that hands-on experience.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. It's kind of crazy that now you received your black belt when you were, you know, doing flying arm bars and tapping people out and stuff like that. No problem. It's because he had that one-on-one hands-on experience. And I think big gyms are great, but also to show how tough you are or to use that individual or personalized like practices to see how good you are in the real life situation against the high-level guys. You know, what's the gym now? Is it Killcliff?
Killcliff, yeah,
You know, Killcliff, because they've had like 10 different names. But Killcliff, and then now here at Syndicate or even at the UFC PI, because I see you there freaking all the time. What's somebody at Killcliff that you've like, damn, dude, there's levels to this that you've trained with, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I gotta work at it.
Everybody, bro. Like, dude, you know what's so funny is whenever I first got there, I was like 21. I was 1-0 as a pro, and I can't even believe they let me stay. I did not belong on the mats. Like I was, actually, it was probably not long after I got to train with you at Finney's, and I had no idea though. It was like my first real high level gym I'd ever been at. I was at the Nate Diaz Academy, and they had really high level training, but it was like mostly jujitsu. We did jujitsu in a lot of boxing, you know, jujitsu and boxing.
Yeah.
And but they didn't have like a whole roster of like high level guys. You know, of course, Nick and Nate, and they had some really high level guys, but not like Killcliff or an American Top Team or something like that. So the first real big gym I was ever at was Killcliff, and but dude, I didn't have a ton of experience. I was back home training mostly in Missouri with a bunch of a lot of people that were hobbyists, you know. So you get away with doing stuff that works in the room, but not really at a high level. You know what I'm
even
saying?
mentally, you think you're probably a little bit better than what you really are compared to these level of guys.
Yep. One big thing I remember before I was going down there, I was like, dude, I'm gonna be in the best shape of my life that way. I wanted to look good for the coaches, you know. I wanted them for them to have a reason to keep me there. And I've always tried to be, you know, a team player in the sense of like I'm trying to always help everybody else out. I've always just thought about being undeniable. You know, work as hard as you possibly can, help those around you, and take care of others. And there'd be no reason to be denied for anything, you know. So. Anyways, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna be in the best shape. I'll be a great training partner, and then by virtue, I'll get to stay and you know get better. And so, anyways, I was in like the best shape of my life, and I went down there, and I could hardly even make it through practice, bro. But it was because everybody was so much better than me. So.
You're like trying harder compared to them. They're being super technical.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I can relax. This guy's spazzing out, wasting his energy. And I'm like,
yeah, 100%. I was having to work, so I was overcompensating for lack of technique, and with you know, just muscling my way through things. You know, lack of technical efficiency with just output. And
it's funny you say that because I remember us like rolling around and sparring, and I'm like, cool, like experience wise, I'm better. And then like obviously you're a little bit bigger. But there'll be times where like I'll put you in position and you were so much stronger than me. You're like, Rob, like I'll be fine. Fuck.
Yeah, I've always prided myself a lot on just like work ethic. You know, just like no matter what, I'm just always be the hardest worker in the room. And it's been great. It got me a long way, and I think that it was super necessary. You got to be an insanely hard worker to be able to do what we do. But my understanding of hard work has changed a lot now, and like. Being at the big gyms and working as hard as I could since I started training, really, I broke down my body a lot, you know, ran into a lot of walls. I wasn't doing the real hardest work, in my opinion, which is thinking. I was just surface level thinking, well, if I want to be better than everybody, I got to work harder than everybody. And it's like, that's true. I think so. I still think that's true. But I think the hardest work of all is thinking. That's why so few people do it, right? You really want to, like you get to the UFC, everybody, foundational, like baseline, everybody's an elite level savage. Everybody's insanely hardworking. And like you don't even get a pat on the back for that. Like, well, yeah. No, you got to be the hardest worker, one of the hardest workers in the world to get here. And now we're gonna see who does the smartest hard work. You know, who actually makes their hard work count. You know, not just running their head into a wall or something like that. You know, so now a lot of my time and effort, I'm trying to just like really be as detailed and intelligent as possible with my approach.
Are you doing any like mental health stuff on the side as well?
No, I'm actually not. I mean, what do you mean by that?
No, I don't care about myself at all.
Yeah, no, I actually don't take care of myself. No, but like, I'm sorry. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
No, as in like, for example, Max Holloway talks about like once you get to a certain level, everyone's sometimes stronger than you, faster than you, better than you, but it's obviously being able to show up under the lights. And it's also having the mental fortitude to do that. Because I'm pretty sure you've had experiences, whether it's in practice and hopefully more in practice than actual fights, where you go in and you're just like, I know I'm better than this person, but for some reason, I just never woke
perform.
up. I can't perform. And there's a mental reason for it.
It's all mental. Yeah,
it's going to
100%.
happen. You're going to have your bad days in the office naturally, whether you work on yourself or not. But hopefully there's less of that. It's the fact of kind of like that self-motivation of believing in yourself or how good you really are, or for example, testing yourself in the gym of, let's say I decide to spar with, you know, Cody Garbrandt, and I know he's, former UFC champion, this, that, and I'm like, oh, I can psych myself out before I even go in there and naturally kind of that self-sabotage, like I predict this is going to happen, so I kind of in a sense let it happen. You know, compared to I just walk forward and go, well, I know what he can do, but I'm going to try my best. So hopefully he can't do it. And if he does do it, how am I going to react with that? Are you doing anything mental health-wise or like psychology-wise?
Yeah. I like that wording, that verbiage a lot better, the psychology-wise. I would say mental health-wise, I mean, I think it's all the same. I think it's all I think that the biggest part of everything we do, like I was saying, the hardest work of all is thinking. That's why so few people do it, right? Including the performance aspect is it's all mental. You know, even the physical that we do. Whenever I'm telling my body to throw a 1-2, it's my mind, or whenever I'm physically throwing punches or whatever, it's my mind telling my body what to do. So I think I put all of my emphasis on the mind now, really, like for the most part. Of course, you got to be in physical conditioning, but even like conditioning, I really think for the most part is mental. It's the ability to stay within yourself, not so get, David Goggins explains it like staying in a mental zone too. You know, like if you're monitoring your heart rate for like long runs and stuff, people that are doing super crazy long distances, you can't maintain like a heart rate zone 5 for a very long time. So they try to maintain like a heart rate zone 2, which is just moderate intensity. And that way you can really focus on your breath and you're not really getting too hyped up, too full of anxiety or anything like that. And he says the same is true with your mind. He's like, you can't clog your mind with all kinds of crazy thoughts of like, just like you were saying, the doubts, what is this guy going to do? Or this guy's so good, or, oh my gosh, I'm tired. None of that stuff matters. Like you're putting yourself in a mental zone 5. Just maintain your composure, stay within yourself, focus on what you can focus on, keep your mind under control. Don't let your nervous system get out, too crazy. I feel like that's what a lot of people do whenever we get exhausted. That's why fight shape is so hard, because you can be in great shape, but then you get in there and you're getting punched and you're like,
yeah, you freak out, tense up.
You're fucking like just on 10, right? So like
zoom in cameras.
Just being able, so even conditioning and stuff is just all mental. Being able to do the things physically that you need to do to be in the fight, but also staying within yourself and your mind of just like, hey, you're good, relax, nice and easy, making reads.
Being, trying your best to keep yourself composed is the biggest and hardest, I think,
thing
for sure. in the fight world, because you know how good someone is, you know what they can do if they have the ability or the chance to, and then you're like, fuck, I'm tired, or any little thing, or you have the fans. Some people freeze under the lights just because of the fans themselves, and that's process in the sport in general. Or you get beat up. How do you react from getting beat up? Do you just gonna cover up and let yourself get finished, or you're gonna try to work yourself out, maybe go out in your shield, or be able to retaliate and manipulate the problem a little bit better?
Yeah, so I guess I don't really do any, I don't like go see anybody for any psychology or anything like that. But I think I work on that stuff all the time, every single day. I mean, to me, that's all it is. So even like whenever you're understanding a technique, I use the example of like, if you walk into like a boxing gym on like the first day, you're probably going to learn almost everything you're going to learn on like the first day. You got like 6 punches. That's it. You got 2 straight punches, 2 hooks, and 2 uppercuts. Like that's all 6 of your offenses. Of course, there's tons of footwork and head movement and defenses. But as far as offenses, you learned everything you're going to use offensively on the first day. And then within those 6 offenses, though, there's like an infinity of depth of knowledge, right? And a lot of times, in my opinion, it's just like finding better understandings in your mind to get yourself to be able to perform the technique. So it's literally all mental. Yeah. And so being leaving the big gyms or whatever, just spending more time on my own lately. That's all I've really been trying to do is just like get inside my mind and just figure out like why does this work? Why do I like this? Or does it work? Does it work? Does it not work? If it does work, why does it work? If it doesn't work, why doesn't it work? How can I do this better? What's my understanding? Like what's the biomechanics of it? Where am I generating force from? Stuff like that. So
well, I mean, Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, simplicity is best. Which if you haven't, there's a video. It's like a 25-minute video of Bruce Lee's 5 different ways of attack. And it's literally the definition is simplicity is best. And it shows real life boxing fights of them, whether it's just, simplicity is best, straight punches. And he shows the different techniques of Pacquiao using it or Marquez or Canelo. And it just keeps on going. You're like, oh, it's pretty dope. Because it reminds you, because we're so, especially at like big gyms or, we go to Finney's, for example, and we're messing around with the guys that are the hobbyists. Where we're like, we can do whatever. We're not even do the basics. We're going to beat them with fun stuff, again, flying arm bars, whatever the case may be. And we forget the basics, and I know for me, when I try to teach a move, I actually, in a sense, reteach myself. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot. This actually is something I should be doing. And then I go do it on somebody else. Like right now, I'm cornering Lazy Boy for Ode. And when I'm teaching Lazy Boy, he'll tell me a question. I'm like, no, oh, yeah, I forgot. You got to do it this way, that. And then when I do it against Iron Mike over there, the Iron Miguel, I'll do the move. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember. It's kind of like I retaught myself. Yep. But simplicity is best. And we overlook the smallest little things, and not just talking about myself because I'm a small guy. Fuck you. But but it's a process. But with that being said, the guy I don't like talking about, fuck you, Alex Perez, how did you meet him? Because you're staying with him now.
Yeah, I'm living renting a room from him. So
I just want to say I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no. Alex is dope. I really like Alex. But
me too.
My boy Cody Steele, I knew him before I moved out here, and I hit him up. I was wanting to move out to Vegas, and I was like, "Yo,
I say it sounds like a porn star name." But go ahead.
Cody Steele, do you know him?
Yeah.
Sounds hard.
Hey,
well done.
Cheese and rice.
Yeah.
I hit him up and was like, yo, do you know anybody out there that's got a room? I'm trying to get out there ASAP. And he was like, no, I don't, but I'll keep an eye out, and listen around for, see if anybody's got anything. And then like a couple days later, he hit me up and he was like, oh, yo, I just ran into somebody at the PI, and it was Alex Perez. And he was like, he said he's got a room and stuff. So he put me in touch with him. So that's how I met him. And but he's super dope. I really like living at his house. I got him, a guy from a management team. Actually, my coach, Mateos, lives there. So we got like a cool little house of just all fighting,
I didn't know Alex had money like that. I gotta hit him up. I mean, buddy, my friend. It's like, I borrowed $20. No, that's dope, because I know, like we were talking off air, I've been here for a little over a year and a half, and in a sense, I've been house hopping every single camp. Luckily, I've been able to stay with fighters that I've been helping, but I don't have my own place. And it's been changing every single time. I'm actually trying to figure out where the hell I'm gonna stay after I help Lazy Boy. I'm just like, you think I can use the studio to? There's a bathroom there, just don't do coke in the bathroom, you'll be fine. But
or do.
I
mean, the sign says, "Don't do coke in the bathroom," but the "don't" is out.
That we gotta
respect the lights.
That's right. Hey,
so with your religious man, go into the light. So with that,
I'm just playing. Don't do coke, kids.
Don't do coke. No, I was just
unless you want to be the light heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah,
hey,
oh my gosh.
That's right. Listen, it's my body. I do what I want.
Like, who else did coke? Connor. We got some.
Oh, I'm sure there's been a lot of them.
Oh, there's definitely
the fighters are wild, bro.
The Iceman, Chuck Liddell, anyone?
Yeah, no, he's gone now. With that being said, so you're a religious man. Were you always this religious, or did it start in Missouri and then eventually in Florida? How did that work?
No, I really kind of.
Because I hear you saying cheese and rice, so I was like, oh, my coach who would do Bible study would say that. I'm like, oh, he's religious. All right.
Nah, I mean, I guess, yeah, there's a lot of my family are believers, but not, not many really practice. We would go to church on like Christmas or
Easter, maybe.
That was it, And so I've always had, ever since I was little, like 6 years old, I remember watching the fights with my stepdad and just being like, that's what I'm gonna do one day. Like I just always knew. I was like, man, I'm gonna be the UFC, be a UFC champion one day. And I always felt like God put that on my heart. Ever since I was a little bitty, I was like, oh, that's what God wants me to do in my life. And so I guess I've always like believed in God, always had a relationship with God in some sense. And but not until I was about 22, I was actually at Killcliff, and Nate Marquardt was started a Bible study at Killcliff, and I was like, man, I say I believe in God and all these things, like, and I've always believed in all the cliches, of just like everything happens for a reason, and like, just all this stuff, all this religious, spiritual stuff, and I was like, man, I should really, I say this, I should learn about what I'm even talking about. So I was like, oh, this would be a good opportunity to, right after training, perfect. And so, anyways, I started just showing up to Bible study, and that's where my religious walk really kind of started. But I've really been deep in my faith for the last several years. It's by far the most important thing to me in my life, and I think it could be for everybody's life. Especially speaking of the performance side of things, dude, nothing, not even close, has helped me the way that my faith has, because of that, of like letting go of. I think that's one of the big things that gets kind of overlooked whenever we were talking about like the psychology part of things. Is like almost like what you were talking about with the relationship side of things, of wanting everything to be perfect, right? We want this desired outcome. We want it to be exactly how we want it. But weirdly enough, when we surrender and we let go of like, whatever happens, happens. I'm going to learn how to be content and be happy with what I do have and make the most of every situation that I can. And you can really kind of let go of any desired outcome. I think it relieves you of the stress of trying to be perfect and trying to make that thing happen and forcing something that might not always be there. And instead just kind of allowing things to work the way that they're going to, and then using that to the best of your abilities. And it's helped my performance so much, just being able to walk into the cage like free, of like unafraid of just, dude, whatever happens, happens. God's got a plan for me. And ultimately, it's way better than mine anyways. So even if for some reason my plan fails, it's only because God has me, going in a direction that he wanted me to, that's even better for my life. So if you can really get yourself to believe that, man, it's like the best performance enhancer.
Was there like a moment, for example, during those Bible studies where you're like, for example, a lot of people who, go into faith, or now later in life go into faith, something bad happened in their life or something good happened in their life and they give reason to God or whatever the case may be. Was there a moment in like, oh man, this changed my life and now made me get closer to God?
I don't think I ever had like a super epiphanous moment where it was just like, oh, I'm enlightened, which I'm still not there. I don't know I don't think any of us ever are, but
Justin's way out there.
Yeah.
Wait till you hear my question.
Oh,
Hey,
my
I can't
God.
wait. This is my favorite talks. These are I think this is the most important thing in the world, for this life and whatever comes after. So, but no, I would say probably the most epiphanous moment I ever had was I had a little cousin that passed away in a car accident when she was like 19. Being at her funeral really changed my life. Up until that point, up until I was 19, I'm sorry, she was 19. I was about 21. It was right before, man, God works in crazy ways. I'd actually just broke my jaw from being down at Killcliff. I just had a crazy accident at practice. Somebody got thrown into me at practice, and their foot hit me in the jaw, broke my face. I moved back home.
Whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is. One of the best learning experiences I've ever had. The stuff that happened because of that jaw break, crazy. Whole nother story, but moved back home. My cousin passed away, and I went to her funeral while I was home, and I literally felt like God was like, I think I was 21. I just turned 22, I guess. And I felt like being at her funeral, God came to me and was just like, all right, now that you truly believe with all your heart, nothing else in the world matters except for being the best fighter you can be, because that's what it's going to take to be the best. I'm going to show you there's a lot more important stuff in life, you know, and like literally like right then and there, my purpose changed from being the best fighter I could be to being the best person I could be. And then it allowed me to take the lens in which I was viewing the world through just fighting. Like I was only cared about what I was doing on the mats. I was super undisciplined outside of the gym. I always cared about people. I always wanted to do well. I wanted to do good things. I was like, man, I can't wait to be a champion. I'm gonna like take care of my family. My family's always been like my number one driving force, you know, my reason why. And but I was always like, you know, I'm gonna do some great things. I want to like have a platform and help people out. And but it was always after me. I was like, I was very selfish. You know, I was like, oh, I'm doing this for a good reason. Like I'm selfish for a reason. And you know, after that changed, after I was sitting at the funeral and I was like, really started thinking about like, it was the first time my own mortality was like really shoved in my face. It was just like, dude, look, somebody you know and love, way too young, you know, is gone. You know, like it could be gone like that, dude. And what's my funeral gonna look like? And I was like, dude, if I'm chasing this dream my whole life, who knows when I could leave here and die right now. And what's my funeral gonna look like? They're just gonna talk about like, oh man, this kid was a great fighter, and that's it. You know, like, dude, what a sad existence that would be. You know, and so it really allowed me to. I started taking all the principles that I was learning on the mats, you know, and applying that discipline outside of the mats. So trying to figure out how to be a better person, and it just led to one thing to another. And then I feel like that's kind of what really led me down the path I'm on now with the intelligence side of things. For one, I just realized I was a freaking meathead for way too long because I didn't care about anything except for training. I didn't care about school. I didn't care about learning how to cook. I was like, dude, I just need to be the best fighter in the world. I'm going to, all the rest of it will be taken care of. I'll pay people to do all the thinking for me. Yeah. And in my opinion, I couldn't have been more wrong because I think the discipline that we exercise outside the mats directly impacts what we do on the mats, you know, and especially with like how we're eating, our diet, our nutrition, our sleep. Are you going out? Are you being crazy? Are you doing the right things? How is your relationships? Mighty Mouse, I remember hearing Mighty Mouse say one time he thinks one of the key contributors to all of his success was he always kept everything in his life, in a good balance and in place. Like he wasn't always putting out fires in his relationships, and he was disciplined outside the gym to do all the right stuff. So he could, when he was in the gym, he was focused on training. He wasn't subconsciously, a part of him was thinking about, whatever's going on, all the madness of life that's happening outside the gym. He was just focused on there, And so overall, I think that, in my opinion, just who we are as a person, our overall entirety, directly impacts every single thing that we do. And if I really want to be the best fighter I can be, I have to be the best person I can be, which is funny because I didn't think about that at all before. So God is great, man. So sorry, super long-winded answer. I just kind of were just vomiting thoughts.
Your turn.
It was. How did God become the choice though? Like, it doesn't become like even like a lack of faith at that point with losing someone so close to you.
I think people go the other way.
Yeah. No, and I man, it sucks to me. It's sad that that happens. And I totally get it. Like, dude, I could totally see how. I feel like that is probably the number one question people have for like against religion or God or whatever you want to say. Is like, oh yeah, if God's real, then why do bad things happen? Like, why would that happen? How, if God was real, how could he let that little girl pass away like that? And it's hard, dude. I'm not God. I don't know. I didn't make that decision. In my opinion, though, I do think that we have free will. I really believe that. That's a whole nother discussion. Yeah. I love philosophy too. Getting down the whole philosophical side of things, like if we even have free will, which is crazy. I do believe we do, and but I do believe in divine intervention too, like this weird mix of like destiny and us being able to create our own destiny, with God. So I think God is just an unbelievable. He's created the most perfect place here on this world, or in this world, on this earth, with all of its imperfections. That it's actually our free will that allows bad things to happen in this place, So instead, I think that we have a choice because of our free will to choose to believe or not to believe, especially in a hard situation like that, you know, of like to choose whether you're going to allow this to pull you closer to God or bring you further away, allow you to look at something in a positive light or a negative light. You know, so I guess, you know, I don't know if that answers the question, but
Talking about free will, is it tough in the city of sin? Like, is it different? Do you stay in your bubble, or do you go out to the strip and enjoy yourself a little bit, or you just, no, I'm here for training and that's it?
Yeah,
because that's definitely the hardest part about Vegas is everyone thinks, especially moving here, and I think like Florida too, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, where they're like, oh, this is the party neighborhood. I'm gonna go try it out and sample. And some people get stuck in that thing we talked about, habits. They're like, oh, every weekend I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do this, and then it just becomes an every weekend type of thing. Is it same thing here in Vegas? Like, have you gone out here and it's like tough to make the correct decisions or correct decisions for you?
being in any I think being a believer, being a follower of Christ, doesn't make that stuff easier. It's not like, oh, I don't care about that stuff now. It's like you still have all the same desires and stuff. As long as we're in this freaking flesh bag, we're gonna have worldly desires. But I think it's our heart that changes, that we realize that, like, oh, that's not the stuff that I actually truly desire. You know, like I just use like a cheat meal, for example, of like, I feel like that stuff lies to me all the time, you know, of like, oh, I'm craving, whenever I'm hungry, craving a cheat meal or something, I fuck up and like have some cookies or whatever I have, you know, have a cheat meal. And then afterwards I'm like, oh man, that wasn't worth it. You know, now my performance at my next practice is going to suffer. Now I'm not as lean as I wish I would, you know, or whatever.
And the
you know,
cheat meals, AKA Bianca. Now just start putting some girls' name out.
Listen, it's but it's all the same. It's all cheat meals, you know.
Yeah.
But it's the trading of what you want long term for what you want right now. In my opinion, is what sin is like anything that takes us away from the greater good, which is God, you know, which is the ultimate good. I think that anytime we sin is just anything that keeps us from God, which is what we truly want, you know, the things that we truly want in life. Do you really want McDonald's, or do you want to be fit? You want to feel good? You want to be happy? To me, I'm like, you might think that you want that McDonald's, and you might really believe it. You might actually really crave that, but it's not truly what you want. You know, I feel like a lot of times we give up what we want most for what we want right now. Yeah. And so it never gets easier. But keeping yourself from even putting yourself in those situations, I don't really go out or anything. So to answer your question about being here, try not to go out every once in a while. You know, I don't like go to the strip that much or anything. I've never been to strip clubs or anything like that, but
so now we know what we're doing after this. All right,
cool. But yeah, it just honestly, it just doesn't excite me, because I'm just like, oh, and I just kind of see it for what it is. In my opinion, I'm just like, oh, that looks cool. Like, I'm sure it would be fun. It'd be a good time, but it's not going to be what I want ultimately, and it's actually going to take me away from what I want ultimately. So it just doesn't make sense for me to just sacrifice what I want most for what I want right now. I would rather just stay disciplined.
The fun question is, are you dating now? 'Cause that's also, I know some people that only want someone who, has the same character traits when it comes to religion and all that stuff. So is that something that you look for in a woman, and are you dating?
I'm not dating anybody. I'm very open to the idea of dating now. Actually, I've been very closed off for a long time because of training. I've just been like, I can't focus on anything else. I got to be the best fighter in the world, or be the best that I can be. It's only going to be a distraction. I've changed my view on that a lot. You know, I really I think having the right partner can not only not be a detriment, but it actually be very beneficial and help you to get closer to your goals and God.
I was actually Nate the Great Marquardt, the whole name. He actually only got religious from his new wife.
Yeah.
Like that, she ended up just that was his thing.
Yep. I think that. What did you ask me? You said,
like, are you dating? Is that somebody you want?
Right,
like, you want somebody who's religious as well?
Yeah, I definitely that's definitely a key component, a key factor. I don't think it's necessarily, the end of the world in the sense of like, it would be if she was unwilling to ever believe, you know. I mean, it would just, especially I'm pretty out there with my thinking, because I just like get way down the rabbit hole on a lot of things, especially religion, psychology, stuff like that. So I would probably just be a straight up lunatic to anybody that doesn't believe. So it would probably be, it's almost probably has to be.
I was like, we believe a little bit, and you're still a lunatic. So
yeah,
I mean,
100%. That's why I'm like, dude, I'm just kind of a crazy person. So, yeah, it definitely is like a key component for somebody I'm looking to be with. But the door is open now. Like I'm definitely, but I have a hard time with it too because I'm also like so focused that I don't go out. It's gonna just have to happen super organically. So it is what it is. I'm not worried about it. God's timing is perfect. So
would you date a fighter?
yeah, for sure.
Because you're at the PI all the time, so technically the only way or place to meet people would be at work in a sense. Because you're not going out, you're not going clubbing, you're not going to bar, stuff like that. So it's hard to naturally mingle. When you're at home all day or training all day. Is a fighter relates to us the most? Is that something you'd ever be open to?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm very open-minded in the sense of like you were saying earlier with like having this like perfect idea of what your relationship, you want your relationship to be. Kind of what I was saying with the whole performance side of things of like really just kind of surrendering to, dude, I'm gonna focus on what's right here in front of me right now because this is all, dude, who knows what the future holds, what God's plans are for you. It's like I feel like instead of trying to focus so much on the infinite amount of possibilities that could happen in the future, just focus on what's right here right now, what you can control, and the rest is gonna play out however it's gonna play out. So I'll kind of figure that out as it comes. But I kind of think about that a lot. About with having things happen organically. I'm like, oh shoot, I guess it's probably gonna have to be, something along the lines like at the gym, whatever. Because, but it's not like I never go out and don't do anything or anything. So, I'm sure it'll happen whenever the time's right.
Yeah. Obviously you're taken, but would you ever date a fighter? Like seriously date a fighter, not fool around. Fooling around's the funnest. But would you actually date a fighter?
Yeah, she's attractive. She's a cool, good person. She's not fucking her coach. Yeah.
God.
It's kind of hard.
That's probably one of the hard
that's-
parts, huh?
Yeah. No, that's shit. And it's like that son of a bitch. No, but because my mindset is, I thought about it when I was training in Florida. I was like, oh man, I think I could date a fighter because I was training with women all the time. I'm small, dude. So I'm like, oh, I'm training with these women all the time. But then in my head, I'm like, man, I feel like this, not dating them when they're fighting. I could just imagine when I get more emotionally attached to them to where I know how they feel about me fighting. I could just imagine how I would feel about them fighting and getting hurt and having to take care of them and stuff like that, where it's like, as the man of the house, or hopefully the man of the house, small man, but man nonetheless, that we would, take care of me after, a battle. That I'm trying to be the caretaker of the house, and that like, cool, I'm going to take care of my man because he's taking care of us and he can't do anything right now. So we're going to help him as much as we can, compared to the mom or the wife gets hurt. And I'm like, oh shit, like this is different. And now, I don't know, it brings down, I guess, my manhood of like, she's now the caretaker of the house and I'm not, possibly, So I'm like, fuck.
Then you could just date a dude that's a fighter.
Go date a dude. Huh. What are you doing after this, Elder?
Hey, listen, I'm open.
Yes.
Are you religious?
Yeah. Fuck.
Checking the first box.
It's like, and red flag. All right, cool. Has there been a time that's made you question your faith, and through this journey of going,
oh yeah,
I don't know if I can do this, man.
Oh, bro, I feel like that's the only thing that strengthens your faith is, dude, I was not like just especially when it came to the Bible, I wasn't just immediately like, oh yeah, this is it, like this is God's word, like I'm just accept it for what it is. Whenever I first started reading the Bible, I was like, okay, obviously this is like fake, but it's got a bunch of good stories in there and there's a bunch of good metaphors, got to read in between the lines and just get the valuable parts of it.
Yeah.
And it's after scrutinizing it and trying to disprove it and I don't know. I guess the biggest, I would just say that the more that I've gotten into it, the more that I look into it, the more it just feels way too divine for it to be not the word of God. It really is. And even honestly, bro, even if it's not, I get geeked out talking about it because I just think it's like it's the coolest thing ever, dude.
He's glowing.
Dude, it really is, man.
He's like the stainless steel, or what the pictures on the windows.
Stained glass.
There you go. Yeah.
It's but even if it's not, even if you just read it from like a fictional standpoint, like I just think it's such a dope story. Like it's such a good story. The story of Jesus Christ is like.
But see, that's my problem. Is like
my
the
God.
WWE, right?
Oh.
Really good storytelling, really good story writing.
I thought Stone
But
Cold was
just
real.
tell me it's fake, then I can go along with it.
Yeah.
I don't like it because I know it's fake and you acting like it's real.
Yeah.
That's my gripe with the Bible, basically.
Yeah, so I mean, I totally understand because and I don't think God would want us to. I don't think we should just accept like, oh, okay, this is
made to
what I'm
question.
supposed to do because this is what I supposed to believe. I don't think that he would even want us to, because like, we'd be susceptible to falling into the first thing that came to us. We'd just believe anything. So that's why I just relentlessly would question it over and over and over again. Like, is this? I don't know. That's actually what led me to believing it. I was just like, man, I can't pick this thing apart. Like, but with that being said, I also think there's a lot of intentional ambiguity set by our creator that, to get pretty philosophical real quick, like I think you could ask any question. I think you could ask why to infinity on any question, and every single question that we could ever ask will be traced back to the origins of the universe, because that's where all of our laws of physics and everything come from. Our understanding of the world will perpetually come back to the origins of life, and there is no answer for that. And I don't think there will ever be an answer for that. So because of that, there is no foundational truth. There is no, in my opinion, I think everything is up for debate then, since there is no foundation of truth, and which makes every single thing a choice of belief. Like since there is no fact, everything's a belief. Whether you choose to believe or you don't, it takes just as much belief. And I think that was, purposely designed, because of our free will. We get to choose whether we believe or not. God loves us so much that he didn't make us just little robots that are walking around worshiping him. He loves us so much that he wants us to have the best experience that we can while we're here, and but also gives us the free will to choose to love him or not, and to receive his love. Which is, like I was saying, go back to the free will part. But, because what kind of love is love if it's forced? It's not. You got to, it's a willful doing. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I got off track. I kind of just...
That's nice.
It's my favorite stuff in the world to talk about, dude. It's nothing even came close to changing my life the way it has. So
the
way God has.
I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I feel like you ever seen Scary Movie 3 with Kevin Hart?
Wait,
like,
what?
damn, what? That's some real shit right there.
If it's a mouse inside the house,
Yeah. Well, if a mouse goes outside the house, come a rat, and a rat goes inside the house, come a mouse.
he's like it's the 8 Mile remix.
Yeah,
Like, he was like,
how do you wake up dead unless you a zombie? Damn.
that's some real shit.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was like,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah. But anyway, real quick, if I can add just one more thing to that, just because I'm like, the thing that I would recommend to everybody is just like, you just got to try for yourself. Bruce Lee, going back to Bruce Lee. Actually, I need you to send me that video because I'm super interested in that. I love Bruce Lee. I haven't seen that. But his philosophy on training, which I just apply to life, because I think that my favorite quote ever is, the essence of wisdom is to see the connectedness in all things. And it's basically just saying like how you can relate one thing to any other thing in life is like true wisdom. And because, dude, I feel like the deeper that we learn about anything, we just start correlating it with everything else we know. It's like, oh, this thing's just like this, and this is just like this. And so fighting, I don't think there's anything more analogous to life. Like, life is a fight for all of us. So if we can understand fighting physically, we'll understand, we can use that, which is easier to understand because it's tangible, to then translate to be able to fight mentally, to fight spiritually, because every single one of us are fighting every single day. Hopefully not all of us are going around getting in physical altercations every day, but all of us, easy. But all of us have mental and spiritual battles we face on a daily basis, every single one of us. So learning how to fight physically in the tangible makes it make more sense. But I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, Bruce Lee's theory is research through your own experiences. Keep what you like, discard what you don't, add what is uniquely your own, right? So it's like the first part, research through your own experiences. That's one of the biggest things I've taken away with anything now is not just accepting stuff because it's supposed to be right or for any reason, not just accepting anything for anything, like learning how to think for yourself. It's just like, even if I'm like, oh, that's good information. Why though? Like, why do I think that's good information? Just challenging all of your beliefs, all of your thoughts, research through your own experiences. You have to try it yourself. That's what I would say for anything, anybody looking at anything religious, spiritual, belief in God, anything like that. Just try it for yourself. Like, just who knows? What do you have to lose if you're wrong? It's just go back to living life how it was. I would say, just say something out loud, just because, even if it's ridiculous, like, dude, God, if you're real, show yourself to me. Like, show me. And but research through your own experiences with anything, not just God, but. My bad. Did I kill the conversation?
No, it's great.
Speaking the gospel.
It makes me want to go to church now.
Amen.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
Hallelujah.
this guy's a philosophizer now.
Philosopher.
I'm no philosophicologist.
Oh my god. Is that the one with the ladies open the legs?
I think so. Yeah, I was going to school for that, and I gave up quick.
That's wow. Huh. I don't know how that took a twist. Anyways, saw something you didn't want to see. It's like, all right, I'm going to church.
Yep. You know what? Lord save me.
Like, oh my goodness, that's fucking hilarious. No, dude, I don't even know what to ask. Like, that was great. Please help me.
So to stay on topic, after you started your UFC career 0-2, that wasn't on topic.
That wasn't on topic at all.
That's all good.
On topic at all.
Hey,
But I mean, at that point, were you starting to get shaky with your belief in you staying with the company, your future with the company?
100%. Yeah. Speaking of, you asked earlier if like anything's ever tested my faith.
Yeah.
Everything. I feel like everything's a test of faith. Actually, today at church, we were talking about how, dude, I love the Bible so much, dude. It's so crazy. I've really tried to obsess myself with the intelligence side of things because it started with just the dream of wanting to be a fighter, right? Of like everything I was doing was like, oh, I need to figure out how to be the best fighter I can be, and it basically boiled down to like I realized, oh, everything is mental, so I just need to have the best mind of everybody. So then I started obsessing myself with the mind, and then it led me to like just being obsessed with everything because I'm like, dude, this place is so sick. I just never looked at the world for what it was. I was just like so stuck in looking at everything on the surface level that I didn't see how unbelievable the world is. And now I just love learning about anything. But damn, speaking of, CTE is a hell of a drug.
Oh yeah,
Forgot.
CTE's not real.
Yeah,
Josh
no,
Augustine.
but I just get off track a lot because I'm like, ooh, squirrel. I get so off topic because I'm like, I get so excited about so many things. But anyways,
Dude, he's glowing.
today at church we were talking about how faith without works is dead, right? It's like the Bible is, I wouldn't say contradictory. It seems like it. It seems like everything. I think that's another argument a lot of people use against the Bible. It's like, oh, it's contradictory. You know, it says one thing here and then another thing here. But to me, it might appear to be contradictory, but it's only because there's a duality that exists in everything in life. You know, going back to like there not being any answers. There's how crazy is it that there's just like this infinite amount of duality of like the yin and yang. You know, for everything that's good, there's also something bad about it. You know, and in that good, there's bad within that good and good within that bad. And then the yin and the yang, the good and the bad together is what makes the entirety of the world. Like you can't have one without the other. Like they have to both simultaneously exist, right? And now it's the same way with faith without works is dead, right? The Bible tells us all you have to do is believe in Jesus Christ and you're going to go to heaven. But at the same time, if you believe just with faith and your actions don't show it, you don't actually have a belief. So it's like there's this duality of like your faith will actually produce fruits. You know, you'll do the work because of your faith, but all you need is faith. But not really. You need the works too, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just think it's super dope because it's like, dude, nothing. It's the most. I heard somebody say it's kind of like the ocean. You know, it's shallow enough to where even kids can walk in and play. Play in the water, but if you wanted to, you could take it to depths of like that are incalculable, like we literally can't understand. And so going back, my bad, super long-winded answer.
Justin's mind is like,
My mind hurts a lot of times because I'm just like I'm not actually smart enough to comprehend a lot of this stuff, but it's really good thought experiments. Again, it makes the physical so much easier. You push yourself mentally, spiritually, and then it circles back around and translates through the physical, you know, brings us, and it makes our physical life, the mental and the spiritual battles transmute themselves into physical action, and everything just kind of works together in harmony. But anyways, going into my third fight, I was 0-2 in the UFC, and my third fight in the UFC was coming up. It was make or break. I was fighting another dude that was 0-2, General Valdez, super tough guy. Had two really good fights in the UFC. I feel like just like myself. had 2 decent fights, but it lost both of them. So we were both kind of on the chopping block. We knew going into the fight that whoever lost probably getting cut from the UFC. And so my nerves were freaking crazy. I'm like, dude, I worked my whole life to get here. I've been given the opportunity and now I'm messing it up. You know, what if I lose this fight? 0-3 in the UFC, I get cut. What if I never make it back? And now I spent my whole life trying to be the best fighter in the world and I couldn't even win a fight at the highest level. And dude, anxiety and nerves through the roof. And I heard heard a Bible verse while I was in fight camp, 2 Timothy 1:7. For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of sound mind. And it literally just changed my whole life. Like at least for that fight camp, I was just like, anytime I was getting nervous, I was like, oh, that's not God. Why would I listen to anything other than God? And what I really believe that is just the enemy, whatever it is, whatever you want to label that, this resistance to keep us from the things that are good, which is also part of the duality that exists in the world. It's just like, I feel like there's a price to be paid for everything, because without it, you know, we wouldn't value it. So the price to be paid for a lot of the things in our life, you know, the good things, the most valuable things, they can't be bought. You know, there's no monetary value. You can't put a dollar sign on it, right? So how do you pay for it? You got to pay for it with pain and suffering and sacrifice and discipline, all this stuff, right? And but a lot of it is just overcoming fear. It's just taking that first step and just realizing like, oh, all I had to do was overcome the fear of whatever this was. And then that was the price to be paid in order to receive whatever it was. So whatever that resistance is, that's not of God. You know, God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So every time I have the fear, anxiety, nerves, whatever, I lean on that verse because I'm just like, oh, I'm listening to myself or the enemy. And why would I do that when I know I could listen to God and He wants all the good things for me? So why not put my trust in Him? And I know that all those nerves, all those negative thoughts are just trying to hold me back. It's simply the price that has to be paid in order to get what I want to get, actually, you know. So anytime I'm getting nervous, and it's not like those things go away. You know, the nerves for a fight, for example. I remember walking out to my last fight, felt like shit because I was super nervous, you know, but it was weird. It's like I could tell my body was nervous, but I was totally good mentally. It was like I still had all the adrenaline. My body was like, you know, felt heavy, you know, just get in the cage and like your legs are heavy. But I was just like, bro, whatever happens, happens. It is what it is. I'm just going to do the best that I can right now. That's it. You know, so God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind.
Dude, good luck editing this. Because he's just dropping bars. like,
well, thank you, bro.
I'm just
thank
sitting
you,
here
thank
like,
you.
oh my gosh. You ever hear something or like somebody teaches you a move and you can't help but grin? Because you're like, you're trying to like be stone faced, like, yeah, that's cool, we'll do it. But then they do the move and you're like, dude, that's fucking cool. Like, that's me. When you're talking, you look at people like, don't smile. Don't smile. Just be serious.
Thanks,
like,
bro. I appreciate it.
It's dope because it's a whole different mindset for most fighters. You know, we just think of fighting, that is what it is, and you have literally something to fall back and lean on, you know, to look for some type of hope and inspiration. Obviously, a lot of people who aren't in that, you know, field just go, cool, I'm going to rely on myself or rely on my coaches, my team, this and that. Like for me, you talked about how sometimes you're in the cage and you feel heavy, you feel anxieties. What is the definition of anxiety? Stuff, you're the fear of stuff that hasn't happened yet. Yeah,
is it really? That's dope.
I believe that's it could be. Look at the fear of anxiety.
I love the quote that we oftentimes suffer more in imagination than we do in reality. And that makes so much sense. That's what anxiety is. We're just making up problems that haven't even happened. And most of the time, they're not going to happen.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there'll be times you're trying, for me at least, I'm trying to sleep, and all I'm thinking about is the fight.
100%.
And I think about every worst case scenario.
Yep.
But by the time I wake up the day of the fight, I'm like, oh, nothing I can do now. Or I'm in the cage, and I'm like, well, how I feel is how I feel, and I got to work at the best that I can for what I have. And that's it. Whatever happens, and I try my best, and that's all that matters.
Yep.
You know, and you just kind of go from there. But that's something that's really cool, that you have something to rely on, and then obviously have the faith to go, cool, I can even, whether for people who don't believe, you know, in a sense, it's manifesting as well. You're speaking it out loud and go, cool, worst was the worst, I have faith in myself that I'm going to push through it. No matter if there's somebody up there or just belief in myself, I'm going to push through it, and I know I can.
Yep.
I think that's amazing, dude.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, it's man, just try for yourself. Just everybody, you know, just like, who cares? I mean, all we're doing, I feel like no matter what, we all need to try our best to navigate our way through this world as best as possible. Even, you know, whether it's I just feel like we literally have no idea. You know what's funny, real quick, actually, the thing that opened my mind to even believing, having the thought that the Bible could potentially be true, because it's so ridiculous, right? And the Bible speaks about that all the time. Like, you have to have such a sense of
too.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different versions in the sense of like translations, right? It's not the stories aren't necessarily different. It's just that they're translated through different languages, stuff like that. But the stories are so outlandish, right? So far beyond like what seems to be our reality of like what we understand the world to be here right now. But I was really getting into the Egyptians and especially the pyramids for a long time. And I was like listening to all these like unbelievably intelligent people. We got people that are so much smarter than me. And they were just like, yeah, you know, this is our best theoretical, you know, the best thing that we can theorize, our best theory for how the pyramids were created and, you know, the way the Egyptians lived, stuff like that. And they're like, but we don't really have any answers. Like, we don't actually know. We can't understand it. And I was like, it just like sparked something in my mind. It's just like, man, we have no idea what's going on here, do we? Like, we can't fully understand what's going on. We become very arrogant because we are so advanced. We have so much information and access to technology, which gives us all the access to information. That's why information is so widespread now. It's because of how quickly it can be transferred but we're very smart. We're very smart in the world. So it causes us to be arrogant. You know, it's like, oh, we understand what's going on. And it's like, no, we don't. We don't actually understand. Even like the things that we do think we understand, it's like we don't understand it to the you know, like an atomic level, you know, of like the subatomic particles, you know, like I'm not understanding the way this couch is made up of like the freaking all kinds of atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons. Like, that's insane, bro. Insane. Speaking of that real quick, freaking, I was listening to the book. Actually, I don't remember what book it was. It might have been like The Biology of Belief or something like that. But they were basically saying how if you break everything down to its like a atomic level, you know, of like atoms are comprised of even smaller components of subatomic particles, which, you know, I believe are like electrons, neutrons, protons, stuff like that. Of all of those things, they're all just spiraling vortexes of energy. So if you were to actually place this very book that you're holding and reading right now under a microscope and analyze it to its deepest level, there would actually not be anything there because it's just energy. Like, it's just spiraling vortexes of energy. But it manifests itself into this physical form, like something you can actually tangibly hold, which is like mind-shattering to me. Like, how could that be? Like, how? And now, you know, a lot of this is just what I've heard. At least I don't actually know. I'm not a freaking scientistologist, so I'm not out here doing all the all the calculations, doing all the studies. But you know, I think I've heard people saying that they're kind of moving away from, and a lot of the scientific community is moving away from like Darwin's theory of evolution. Of like, okay, well, maybe we were a little bit wrong on that. Like, seems like some of the things didn't actually pan out the way we thought. But simulation theory is really starting to advance, you know, and you know, the thought of like we're just probably most likely in a simulation, and which is crazy too, you know. But also, even if that's true, I'm like, well, where did that simulation come from? Yeah. Like, there's still just no answers. Like, there will never be any answers, in my opinion, because our intelligent creator left us ambiguous in the sense of being able to choose what we want to believe. And there are no facts because, like we were saying, there is no understanding of the beginning of the universe. So everything's just kind of up for debate, up for question. And I forgot where I was going with this. I got way off track.
Question. might be far, you know, far-fetched, maybe too far out there. Have you ever been on shrooms before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dude. Not a very far-fetched.
No, you know,
right there. You picked it up. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
It
like,
is.
I'm listening to you. I was like, damn, this is like. I could just imagine listening to you talk like the podcast or just like an audiobook and just being high on shrooms, just seeing.
Oh yeah,
everything.
he'd lead us through a desert. You know what I mean? Just put an ocean and take us straight through.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that is Oh, that's where I was going with that. Everything I was just saying, right? That's exactly why I was
Goes
just
back to
saying all that,
shrooms. No.
right? No, not quite. But the Egyptians and the pyramids and stuff of just like back to like how crazy, like how little of an actual understanding that we have of this world. Of well, at least for myself, I should really preface that like I can only speak from my own personal experience, you know, and but I had a little spark of this light bulb moment of like, oh, I don't think any of us really can deeply understand fully what's going on here 100%. And if we can't understand 100%, we don't actually know how far away from 100% we are. And to me, it means that almost anything could be possible, right? Of like, we don't really understand what's going on, so what could be going on? And the pyramids, the Egyptians, stuff like that, I was just like, how the hell did they do that? Like, what is that stuff? Like, what? And then it just made me. At that time, I was getting deep into my faith, but again, I was very questionable. You know, questioning. I didn't believe in the Bible. You know, I believe in God. I always believed in God. But I didn't think like the Bible was the word of God or anything like that. I thought it was fictional stories that had a lot of good detail, you know, good morals and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? What if I just start looking at everything of like, what if it was real? What if, you know, because then it started allowing me to question. It kind of took down my arrogance of thinking that I knew or understood anything. And then I would really question things deeply, even more deeply, because I'm like, I don't know. I don't think any of us know. So we should try our best to figure it out. And that's just going to come from effort of asking questions over and over and over again. And since we don't know, we have to assume that anything could be real. And so I started doing that with the Bible. And I was like, oh, this is the most divine thing that I've ever come across. So that's what did you just question? Shrooms. Going back to that.
You're making me feel like I'm high. I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous.
It's so funny. That's what
because you're making me trip out. Where I'm like, fuck, I really don't know much. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So from all of that, everything I was just kind of prefacing is like,
shrooms.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the way I was trying to say this, but like, I already kind of thought about all this stuff, like everything I was thinking about. This was like pre-shrooms, you know, before I've ever done any type of psychedelics. Or anything
so it
like
went
that.
even more.
Yeah.
It got more extreme.
Yeah. So, I had heard the reason I even tried mushrooms at all in the first place was for the mental benefits of like actually, you know, repairing CTE, you know, helping regenerate neurons and fix neurological degeneration, stuff like that. So. A lot of really good benefits mentally, you know, from the mushrooms. And then, you know, I did, you know, just like some microdoses and, you know, didn't really feel anything. I was like, it was that little of a microdose. And then one time I was like, I'll just see what's up with them, you know, because I started having this kind of more of an open-minded approach of like, I just wanted to question everything and figure out for myself, research through your own experiences.
Did the whole Mike Tyson.
And, yeah, you know, I don't think we have to research everything. I don't think I need to try heroin to know about it. But
no,
you never know. Seriously, you know, what's funny though is I am that open-minded to the sense of like, I'm not ever going to try it, or I don't think I'm going to. I don't have any plans on it.
Can't say never.
That's what I'm for real. Like you never know, but I don't plan on it. I don't think I need to. Fuck, bro. Who knows about what that shit's like? I don't know. You know, I can't, and I can't tell anybody else what they should or should not do with their life. You know. Yeah. So, anyways, I tried mushrooms, and I feel like it just allows us access to our subconscious mind. You know, you get to really deeply analyze yourself, and which is our whole entire world. You know, like we view this objective reality, this physical world that we all share through our own lens, which is completely made up of our subjective experience. So the better we get to understand ourselves, the better we get to understand the world around us, other people. So anyways, I look at mushrooms now as like thinking steroids. Like you just get to ask yourself way deeper questions than you even thought were there in the first place.
So you're making me rethink everything about life right now, and I'm not even high. Like,
I hope not in a bad way.
No, I'm just like, damn, I thought I knew so much already, you know, or, you know, it's just what you're saying. I'm just like, I can't help but just be in awe by how you can just, again, like I say, you're glowing. Like you just keep on going. You're so inspired and you talk about this stuff. You know, I'm just like, I feel like I'm gawking. You know?
Well, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. God's my favorite subject to talk about, man. Truly, man, nothing's changed my life like my relationship with God. Seriously, I recommend anybody and everybody relationship over religion too. Just like I believe, dude, my you know what it is to me is just that we're inevitably flawed. Like we're inherently flawed as human beings. That's part of the perfect creation. That's what makes this place so good. Is that we fuck up. It's like it's part of the duality of like we wouldn't know there is good without the bad, and overcoming adversity and difficulties. It's all a necessary part of the human experience, right? In order for us to have the best experience possible, there has to be the shitty parts. And anyways, since we as people are flawed, any organization, even religion, is ran and governed by people which are flawed, and we're gonna mess it up. We are gonna mess up God all the time. I almost get worried talking about God because I'm like, I pray to him all the time. It's just like, man, I hope that I don't say anything that is like puts a bad taste in somebody's mouth, or like, because it's something that you can't. God is so unbelievable. You know, it's just like the universe in general. Imagine trying to explain the entirety of the universe to somebody. It's impossible. Like you can't. And he is equally or more complex. You know, he is, you know, in my opinion, the universe. Like he is everything. So anyways, with religion, that there's so many ways that we as people go wrong. I got an analogy I use for that is like, think of how, I'm sure that martial arts has had an amazing impact on your life, right? At least for me, there's been nothing better physically that I do. I would say other than like, you know, my religion, like my relationship with God, my personal relationship with God, in martial arts, there's nothing that's positively impacted my life better, right? There's a lot of really shitty martial arts instructors out there. There's a lot of really bad pastors out there that really ruin.
No,
What?
I was like, you know, he used to own a gym. No,
Hey, he didn't mean that, bro. He didn't mean that.
He meant it.
He didn't mean that.
He meant that.
No, but
I'm so sorry. No.
I don't think that we should let. I really hope, and I completely understand. You know how we were saying earlier of like, you know, how it's really easy for a situation to, for you to allow a situation to pull you away from God as opposed to bring you closer. It's really easy to like go to imagine telling somebody how good martial arts is and how much it's impacted your life, and they show up to a gym and they got a bad coach and they go live on the first day and they get hurt and they're like, man, this is the dumbest shit ever, you know, like fuck martial arts. And now for the rest of their life, that was their only experience. Yeah. And they're like, oh, I know what it's like. They even research through your own experience. Right. And they're like, no, that shit sucks. And it's like, no, you just had a bad experience with it, bro. I promise. Like, just try it again. And
sounds like Diego Sanchez's coach.
You know, I've been told I look like him.
His coach,
Fabian, right?
His coach.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know who that is.
So talking about a gym being closed, I was right. Do you remember when Diego Sanchez when he fought Matt Brown? When he got elbowed, and there was a couple fights where like
it was like his last fight, right?
Yeah, his last few fights.
No, fight for the UFC.
He was
outside the UFC.
Yeah, he was still like in his head, like I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I want to make a return. But I guess he had this coach that was like hypnotizing him in a little bit, but like really manipulating him to where making him believe just outlandish stuff, and ended up working extremely against him. And then
like what?
And then that guy ended up like, taking his money or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
What
was he making him believe?
Fabian or something like that? What's his name?
Just like I'm trying to think of how like I could even say it, because obviously I wasn't there, so I don't want to say random stuff and be incorrect, but just manipulating him to a point where I'm not saying you should never tell someone you can't be champion again, you know, especially later on in the career, but he was making him believe that he can like beat anyone, like he could fight Francis Ngannou and this like go in there, go, or jump off a building and you could fly, and it's like, what?
Yeah, man, that's tough, because like going back to the psychology part of it is like you kind of want to have. You know what's funny is I think about practicing like intentional delusion. You know, of like you have to, in my opinion, you kind of gotta believe to like, bro, fuck yeah, I can beat anybody. Like I feel like
Yeah.
you kind of have to like
Oh,
to,
yeah,
to
you have
have
to-
the
you have to be
confidence to get in
delusional
the
in a good
cage.
way.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a point where there's such a fine line to be walked. That is such a crazy balancing act not to actually go crazy, right? And I feel like that's what happens a lot of times is like we're teetering on that edge of like actually delusional, right? Because we're practicing that delusion, that insane amount of belief in ourselves that we need to cultivate in order to be the best fighter that we can be.
Yeah.
And then you forget to turn that off outside of the cage or wherever, and then it's like now you're just crazy all the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Was it absolute power corrupts absolutely?
yeah. So absolute craziness.
Being able
It's
to,
crazy all the time.
Yeah, being able to balance that.
It's
teeter
absolutely
totter.
crazy.
It's absolutely
It's
crazy.
absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. It's but yeah, you're right. Look at the Rose Namajunas, like I am the best. I am the best. Or Brandon
Yeah.
Moreno, like I am the
I can
champion.
tell I look like her too.
Oh
Hey.
my gosh, the same hairstyle and everything. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What's up, Pat?
Yeah. You're too
I'm
old.
17.
I was about to say, you're too old.
Easy,
yeah.
easy.
I like how we went.
Allegations.
It's like
Allegedly.
I don't know.
yeah. So talking about the oh gosh, the fighter hooking up with the coach. Anywho, dude, like listening to you talk, I feel so. Christian Rodriguez was here not too long ago, and he was talking about like he takes shrooms all the time, and one day he did like a Forrest Gump and took shrooms and just decided to run, and he ran 20 miles.
Nice.
Just randomly was like, I'm gonna go run,
Yeah.
and just ran 20 miles. I feel like I can
totally
listen to
believe that.
this
Yeah.
on shrooms, and I can be like, this is why I'm running 20 miles because I want to get through this, and I want to
Yeah.
like really not trip out, but like see everything, out in real life. It's really cool hearing you talk and like you were saying earlier, you're like, dude, I don't know if I can get an hour, blah blah, but I'm gonna enjoy the podcast. We're at an hour like 15, an hour 16.
Well, we were talking
killed it, dude.
we were talking about crazy stories, and I'm not a very crazy person. I'm very crazy. I guess I'm kind of a lunatic, but in my way of thinking. But
Well, we're all crazy. We're all crazy we're all weird in a good way, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's bad to be normal, at least in my mindset.
yeah, for sure. But in the sense of the stories that we were talking about beforehand, I was like, dude, I don't have very many like crazy stories. I don't go out and get wild, so I don't have like these insane stories to talk about. But yeah, we talk about something like this, I'll talk all day.
It's like, was there any crazy stories in the confession booth? No, just start trying to think of anything. Like,
Yeah, no, I've never been in a confession booth. That's
is that more of a Catholic thing?
yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. That's I never well, that's a whole other topic. We'll talk about that another time.
With that being said, I feel like respectfully so, you should shout out the church that you're at here in Vegas.
Yeah, thank you. I'm at Calvary Chapel Fervent. The pastor that I was, the church I was going to in Florida, Calvary Chapel, Deerfield Beach, best church I've ever been to, the best pastor I've ever had. Love him. He's the one that told me to come out here to this church. Looked one up for me and talked to the pastor. Really liked him, and so yeah, it's just kind of like, in my opinion, finding a good coach, right? Of just like, there's a lot of coaches. It's really important to get a good one, and you can learn from anybody, and you can really learn from yourself. And in my opinion, your personal relationship, that's all the Bible is a personal, dare I say, like a love letter from God to you, showing you how to develop a relationship with Him. And that's all that matters, is like your personal relationship with God, not what church you go to, not what subsect of Christianity or this or that of like, it's your personal relationship with God that matters. So even if you don't want to go to church or anything, just try to talk to God, try to develop a relationship with God. With that being said, the Bible is so intricate. Imagine trying to teach yourself jiu-jitsu or any martial art. You might be able to, like maybe, right? But you'd probably be way better off going to somebody that has a lot of experience and like learning from them. But again,
I was like,
but then again, it's like, at that point, how do you know you're getting a good coach? Like it's really tough, dude. It's intricate, just like anything in life. It's super, super intricate, and you can't let just like one experience, shape the way you think about something indefinitely. With anything in life, I have this running joke of like, I'll try anything twice.
Yeah.
You know, kind of joking, but not really because I'm like,
I have a fighter friend who said the same thing. Like you don't know until you try it twice. First time could just be bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did. It literally came from food. It was sushi. Sushi's my favorite, not even close. Like by far my favorite thing in the world to eat. And I hated it the first time I tried it. And I just went to some shitty sushi spot like in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, oh, this is trash.
Like where there's no ocean next to you.
Missouri.
Okay, yeah.
In the middle of the
Explain
country,
that.
bro.
Where they called
We're a
it
bunch of
Missouri.
freaking
They call it
redneck.
Missouri.
Yeah, bro. Do you know what? Hey, speaking of random facts, did you know the toothbrush was invented in Missouri?
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
If
dude, why are all
in-
the teeth so yellow?
if it was invented anywhere else, it'd be teeth brush.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
No, I'm playing. I had just
Did
heard that as a joke one time. But
I'm sitting here still thinking like, wow, Missouri. Oh wait, it's a joke. Got it. Was it really made there though?
no, I don't think so.
God, fucking
I don't know
damn
where
it,
the
dude.
toothbrush
They're
was
not
made.
that
That'd be a
You
good
could place,
question.
you could
No,
just
but
place
like-
any southern
Any-
state in
yeah,
there, right? Like
yeah.
Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia.
Insert, yeah, hillbilly
Florida.
place here.
Yeah.
Do you hate it when people call it Missouri?
Nah, I don't care. I don't really hate many things. I don't hate really anything.
Kevin, hate then. What is Evan Elder's top 5 lightweight fighters of all time?
Ooh, top 5 lightweight of all time. I mean, you got to have Khabib. Islam's there now too, for sure. Charles. I mean, truthfully, as crappy as it is, it's probably. I mean, it's got to be all current. Like, dude, we're in the best era of fighting by far. So Islam, Khabib, Charles Oliveira. Shoot, bro. In my opinion, it looks like Arman Sarukian's going to be up there, like going to be a freaking one of the best ever. You know, then either probably Dustin Poirier, just because of like the fights that he's had, the people that he has beat. Really, dude, it's just so many good guys, good guys. Yeah, but I'll go with those. Islam, Khabib, Poirier. Charles Oliveira, and who else I said? Sarukian. Yeah.
Do you have a list? I feel like you have a list.
I don't off the top of it. I mean,
Yeah, that was more difficult than I was anticipating.
PJ Penn,
That's biased, but whatever.
Habib. I think Islam's up there. Striking is just so high level.
He's so good, bro.
I
He's disgusting.
think you got to throw Connor up there.
Even at lightweight? Well, I mean, yeah, I guess
Well,
so.
that was
I
his-
guess
yeah.
so, yeah.
I guess I got to go Charles.
Yeah. No, that's a good list. Yeah, I feel like Khabib, Islam, Charles have to make the list. Like
Yeah.
and then you could kind of interchange the last two. But
I think
however you
BJ
want.
Penn's one of the only guys from yesteryear that could compete with today.
Yeah.
At his prime.
Yeah. I don't know about at the highest level, but probably. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even like to compare people of like previous generations because like
Such a different game now.
it's a different game, and it's like we wouldn't even be able to be as good as we are now if it wasn't for those guys.
Right.
So it's like I feel like every generation, you look at the best of their time, they managed to be the best with what they had at the time. You know, it's like those guys, I really think if they were in this time, they would be the best now too. They would be way better than they were. But given the resources and the access to the tools that they had, they became the best with them, you know, to what the world had at the time. They became the best, and they would do the same now. You know?
MMA doesn't have the luxury of other sports like baseball or football that's been around for over 100, almost 200 years, right? Where they get to look back how the sport changes every 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a whole new game, basically.
Yeah, well, it's only been around 30 years, right? So
Right.
it's like, yeah, if you break it up by decades, look how different, insanely different. It's funny being at the PI and stuff like, excuse me, like sitting in the hot tub, cold tub, whatever. It's like always the same fights playing, you know, like it's the same replays. But it's crazy looking at like the difference, the skill level, like the skill gap between, you know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when the sport first started. Just how fast the sport evolves, you know. Just like with anything new, though, you know, the newbie gains. Most of, you know, have you heard of the 80-20 rule? You know, like 80% of what you're going to learn about anything is going to usually happen in the first 20% of the time. The other 20% is going to take the last 80% of time because you just have so much more room to learn, you know,
Right, that
to grow.
curve.
The learning curve is so much greater. at the beginning because you don't know anything. So you have so much to learn about. So you learn so much so fast, and then the learning starts to slow down because you've learned most of what you're going to learn. And now to actually continue to learn, it's going to take way more effort, way more searching, way more digging deep, you know? So
This guy just spits bars.
no.
He does.
No bars.
Philosophical.
No
Dude,
bars.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like, when
No
are you
bars.
starting to
I
church?
feel it in my fistalophagus.
Yeah. It's like, when are you gonna start a church, man? I just want to go there and just hear you.
I'll definitely have a gym one day. This stuff, dude, man, it's so much more important to me than just fighting. You know, it really is. It turned into, you know, just being the best person I can be. This is so cliche and it's like super gay probably to even say out loud, but it's like, bro, I really, really feel like, you know, I figured out on this journey, God showed me that it's like, I always set out to be a UFC world champion, but it was way more important to try to figure out how to be a champion of life than in the cage, you know? So, but
Dude,
I don't
even
all
need,
the wisdom getting
dude,
a
this
little
is
bit
like,
like
this is your
you know,
show
it's
now,
like,
man. I
nah,
don't even need to be here.
No,
Welcome
but
to the
seriously,
Elder Show.
Seriously, it's so much more important than just fighting. You know, I think we get caught up on and it's great that, dude, life is so good, man. It's so good. Like I just think the more that I think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. Like, how did he do it? How did God design such a perfect world, even with all of its imperfections, all of its flaws? Like, it's perfect because of it. Like, it's crazy, bro. And I really, in my opinion, what I've learned from at least my spiritual walk, my walk with God, I really personally believe that He loves us so much, dude. That's the best part. Is like, dude, having a relationship with God. I feel like you can't even understand love in any facet, which is to me the highest form of being. You know, the thing that we pursue the most is like, you know, love from others, love for ourselves, but it's because of our you know, the love we get from our Creator and the relationship we're supposed to have with Him, so we can then understand the love that He gives to us, how to love ourselves, and then in turn how to love each other, which is the most important thing. You know, that's why in the Bible Jesus comes back and He says, He's like, hey, I gave you guys all these commandments and stuff, but you're messing them up. Let me sum it up for you guys. He's like, number one, love your God, the one and only true living God above all else. And then number two, love your neighbor as yourself. Do those two things and I'll see you in heaven. We're good. Like, just love each other. Everything in the Bible, everything we're supposed to be doing is just for us to know the love of God and to be able to share it with others. And, it feels like to me, we were created just to have an experience. Like just enjoy this place. Like, do whatever you want with it. Have as much fun that you want. But you're going to, without knowing the love of God, you're going to accidentally hurt yourself because you're going to think you want something. You're going to think you want that cheat meal when really it's going to keep you from being a UFC world champion. And that's what you really want. You know, it's like you're going to give up what you want most for what you want now without knowing and understanding the way God designed this place and the love that He has for you. I forgot where I was going with that again. But
The
I
cheat
guess
meal,
that's about
aka Bianca.
yeah, freaking. Damn it, Bianca.
Damn it, Bianca.
It's always the Biancas. It's the
They're
hardest.
so toxic, but so much fun. But dude, I don't even know how to end this. Like this
Favorite
is
ethnicity of women?
Brazilian.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you learn about that in Florida?
No.
Did you go? Oh, well, I guess
Dude,
I'm
you know
addicted
what's
to
funny?
Brazilians now.
You were saying how like Florida, you know, is a crazy spot and stuff. Like I never went out there either, really.
Really?
You know, so I just never did the whole Miami
I'm
nightlife
sorry.
stuff.
That's-
Yeah, I know.
oh gosh,
I've heard that
that's-
I've missed out a lot.
Oh, there's
but to me,
a
honestly,
lot.
bro, every single time I've ever even like gone out, really,
I
I'm
just
just
started
like,
scratching. Dude, there was a lot.
yeah.
Did you hear the St. Louis though? Out there.
Yeah, oh,
Out
gosh.
there, yeah, hey,
I
listen.
heard Nelly high.
Yeah. I like the way you do that right there.
Right there.
That's chingy, ain't it?
Oh yeah,
Is
it is
it?
Shiggy, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
is. Oh my God.
Yeah, hey, bro, I love music.
Mm-hmm.
Life without music is a mistake. But
You didn't go out in Florida?
yeah. It's just to me, it's just that whole cheat meal thing. I'm like, it's just like I would just rather I have more fun doing what I know is going to bring me. Actually, I heard a quote a while ago that was like so true to me, and I think I've just broken my brain to think this way. But like, winning is more fun than having fun is fun, and I'm like, bro, I haven't done the stuff that I need to do. I ain't shit yet. Like, I literally haven't done anything. Like, I have so much more to do until I've gotten to the point where I've like achieve the things that I want to achieve and stuff like that. And, you know, I know that'll never end, but I'm just like relentlessly focused right now on like trying to be the best that I can be in every area of my life, you know, trying to be a champion in and outside of the cage. And, but I enjoy that. You know, it's not like I think a lot of people that they're like, oh, what do you do for fun? You know, I'm like, oh, this is what I do. And they're like, oh, you gotta have fun. You gotta have balance and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, I love what I do. Like I don't like I literally go to bed. Like, I'm praying to God, and I'm like, dude, I can't wait to wake up in the morning. Like I can't wait to get up and get after it. Like just go get to do everything, you know. And
while him and I wake up, we're just
Yeah, I'm envious of people who can like
wake up with positive.
yeah, or
positive.
even just be like believe in God, I guess.
I'm
Or
just like, oh, time to grab that mask. Let's get up.
what mask?
I was like, you
Smile.
can't fake it to make it.
Yeah. See, he
CTE is
didn't
a
even
hell of
know.
a Hey, listen.
yeah,
Damn you,
I
we're
get
so
it.
My
envious.
bad. Listen.
Sorry, I'm actually happy, guys.
My bad.
Just start crying.
Just don't leave us behind when the rapture comes, all right?
my
We're
gosh.
good, bro. We're all getting saved.
Grab
bro.
Shorty and I'll grab his leg.
Yeah.
You might not be able to reach it, but
Short rope.
The third
it's a
leg.
very short rope.
Cheese and rice.
What do you That's what I tell the women. You want to know why my nickname is Shorty? Anyways.
Oh.
Well, with that being said, guys, dude, we appreciate you being here. Yeah, like, it really is. I'm not at all saying like it wasn't good, but it was so much better than like what we expected. Because you came in bringing the bar so low. Like in your head, you're like, I don't know if I can speak like this.
Yeah, I don't have any crazy
I don't have any
stories.
crazy stories.
I don't
And,
think
dude,
there was
we
any
shut
crazy
up the
stories.
entire time. We're just like, oh my god.
God, I can't be a better person.
It's
Well,
like,
my
yeah.
bad. Well, dude, I hope I didn't keep you guys from talking.
No,
that was great.
we're trust me, you did our job for us, but in a very positive and
Thank you, bro. Good.
enlightening way.
I've been
Awesome.
trying to find God for like 4, 5, 6. Oh God, no, wait. It's probably closer to like 10 years now. It's just I've never been able to. So you've kind of inspired me to
Let's
keep
go, dude.
keep looking.
You,
Let's
you
go, dude.
baptized?
Yeah, Catholic.
I was about to say, can we like baptize him right now? Should pull out a
Hey, never
do the
stop
whole
looking,
Nacho
bro.
Libre, yeah.
Hey, it's all within you. Like it really. It's your personal relationship with God is so much more important than anything in life, dude. Like the but anyways, yeah, don't ever stop looking. Don't stop looking.
It's amazing. Guys, Evan Aldar, Justin Hong, Shorty Torres, The Shorty Show. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Love.